All right, good evening, class. My name is Travis Gellerman. We're going to be presenting this presentation on Marbury versus Madison. This one's kind of a really important case. I think it's one of those that you hear about all throughout, grade school, elementary school, all the way through college and beyond. It's a very important case that really declared those separations of powers and, really has a lot of deep connections to the checks and balances that we know and love in this country. Let's get right into this and learn more about it. So here, I think the biggest differences before the court case was obviously that creation of the judiciary review. As we all know, with that being said, before, of course, we had the checks and balances, but it almost kind of, it was kind of divided. There was no real way to check those kind of branches of power. So when a president, wanted to elect all of his friends and, kind of pack the courts and stuff, they were able to do such almost unchecked, with that. So I think the biggest thing was creating that judicial review, which allowed for the courts to declare other branches of government unconstitutional. We'll get into that a little bit later. Here you can see a politician getting angry because he didn't get his way, and then of course the checks and balances. So with the king here, it almost was like the president could be a king of sorts to obviously know that there were checks and balances in place, but for them not to be enforced. Very interesting stuff, but let's move along. The significant aspects of the case, we're looking at a lot of pretty crazy things, but here, with the chunk of it, John Adams lost, to Jefferson in the presidential election. He lost, and that was one of those things where he took it personally, and with that, Adams almost as a final blow of sorts, decided to put a lot of his allies on the courts and create new positions for them. So, that was kind of like his last breath and dying wish to know that he was going to pack these people in. So here you can see that, there's James Madison, there's William Marbury, but, how does Marbury come into play? Well, Adams loses, and when he appoints all these people, one of the people that he ends up appointing um, is, Marbury. And with Marbury being, appointed one of these new positions, well, he wanted to get his career started. He wanted to get it up and running, get that engine turning, right? But with that being said, it needed to be approved by the next, I guess, form of approvers, which was the Secretary of State, James Madison. Well, James Madison decided, I'm going to hold off on these and not, kind of get the ball rolling here as quick as Adams might have thought. And with that being said, that really frustrated Marbury as he felt like he deserved this position and had it, which he did. And that's when the case went to the Supreme Court, which then it was declared that the Supreme Court, decided that there needed to be a judicial review where certain laws and certain, things that get passed need to be checked and can be deemed unconstitutional, even if it's coming from a branch of power. So it's very important that such kinds of reviews of sorts was created. Very, very important. And as you're looking at the impact of lives today, I think it's just one of those things where, we realize how fair the United States Constitution is. It's not one of those things where, in other countries, you get into power and you're just going to be this Mongol of power and resources and really just doing whatever you want and seeing whatever you want to see happen. This kind of proves that, there really was a form or function of powers and a way to check those. And I think the judicial review was that first sign that we saw that though there was a division of power, this is what allowed that division of power to function as it does and to allow for that kind of separation to be there. But for us as citizens to know that it's going to be backed up by something. So again, to kind of summarize that point, the judicial review was kind of the main chunk that came out of the Marbury versus Madison, struggles here, and that struggle into power and all the decisions that Adams made and his final blows there, and trying to leave without, I guess, without grace, trying to bother as many people as possible. But again, it kind of just shows that that was what our Constitution stood for, was a separation of powers, that people couldn't just come into power and be able to do whatever they want. So it's very significant for impacting lives today. And to sum this conclusion up, of course, as we talked about, Adams lost to Jefferson in the president election as he decided to, kind of elect all of his allies. Marbury was one of them that got this position. But it needed to be approved by the Secretary of State, which happened to be Madison. Madison didn't want to approve it, and of course, this got sent to the Supreme Court, which found that, there could be unconstitutional things happening within one of the branches and one of the sections of the government, and that needs to be controlled. So the main idea that came out of this was the judicial review from the Judiciary Act that Adams tried to create. And it really left a major impact on today's, constitutional, I guess, ways of functioning, as it now is, a regular thing and comes into play often and will forever. So this is a really great case to look at, and obviously, having talked about it multiple times, it's great to understand. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. We're halfway through the semester here, ready to kick some butt, take some names going forward. And good talking to everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and have a good new year.